two dialogues written by Plato about the last days in the life of Socrates. The first one is called Apology, though it really is anything but an apology, where Socrates defends himself before a jury of 501 of his fellow Athenians. The second dialogue, a short one called Crito, takes place in the cell where Socrates and a group of his friends await the signal that will mark the time of the execution by his drinking hemlock. And finally, we'll read just a short scene from a dialogue called Phaedo, describing Socrates still in the company of his friends as he drinks the potion and dies. Why is he on trial? Well, he's been charged with two offenses: impiety, because he said not to believe in the Athenian gods, and corrupting the youth, leading them into moral behavior. So, in the apology, Socrates defends himself against both of these charges. In doing so, he tries to engage his two accusers, young men who were successful in getting the prosecutor to accept their incriminations. And Socrates shows that their case is full of holes. Then turning back to the jury, he argues that not only is he innocent of the charges, but in fact, he's been a top-notch Athenian citizen, both as a soldier in his younger years and as a grown-up. He realizes that he's antagonized some prominent people by his practice of questioning them in public, trying to find out the truth of various matters, like the nature of goodness or bravery, or indeed piety itself. But he does that, he says, only because he is serious in his quest for answers. However, by a relatively small margin, the jury gives their vote to the accusers. By law, rather than accept the penalty of execution, Socrates is allowed to propose his own. Ironically, at first he suggests ways in which he might be rewarded for being such a good citizen all his life. But at the urging of his friends who will pay for him, he recommends a modest fine. This proves to be unacceptable to the jury, and so he is sentenced to death. These readings give us a model of the Socratic way of questioning and searching for the truth. In Crito, for instance, he asks his friends who are urging him to escape, which they can arrange, whether it would be right for him to accept their offer, and they pursue the pros and cons from all angles. In the end, Socrates concludes that even a successful escape to a friendly haven would be a denial of all his principles of living a good life. Whether you've read much philosophy or not doesn't really matter for this course. At least on the surface, the readings aren't difficult. Still, they provide a lot for us to explore and discuss. And whether or not you are familiar with Socrates, you will certainly find these accounts inspiring.